Hi, in this video we're going to talk about how to improve engagement of employees using ERPNext. And typically the best way to improve engagement is to have proper appraisal cycles and also goal setting for employees that is in line with the organization's goals. So let's see how ERPNext can achieve this. Typically we can go to this performance module, and one of the important setup is an appraisal template that determines what we want to measure. So let's go back to Jane, who is associate in the ops department. We can determine an ops associate with these KRAs or key responsibility areas, which is a very common HR term, and use the skills that we have predefined and set up some weightage so that these are the measures that we will determine how well Jane has performed during the appraisal period. And we can have rating criteria, okay, accountability, excellence in work, problem solving abilities, give them a weightage. These are criteria whereby the superiors or the manager of Jane can assess her. Okay, so with this, we then determine an appraisal cycle. Typically, appraisal cycle is 1 year or annually, but it can be shorter for different staff. For example, for sales staff, it could be shorter. And in this case, we set to a year, and we only have one staff that we are targeting for this appraisal cycle, which is Jane. And we have determined the ops template to be used for her and which department and designation she's in. Okay, so with this we can actually start. And from here, we can go on and view a goal which we have already pre-established for Jane. And the goals are actually automatically linked to the KRA that we wanted to measure. So for this one is coordination and execution, and this is for documentation. If you look at this tree view, the tree, you have to complete, let's say, 2 tasks in order for this to complete. And let's say we create another one, which is for inventory management, and set it as a group, and the KRA is, and under the appraisal cycle, and we can set the later completion date and create. Okay, so typically the manager, the HR manager or the manager of the employee will set all these goals together with the employee so that the bosses and the underlings are synced in terms of what is required of them for the appraisal period. We can also have, okay, here we are in Jane's portal. Jane can actually go in to the system herself and see the goal that was set for her and update it herself too. Remember, we added one more inventory management. Let's say Jane decides to add new goals within by herself. So she said that she must pass inventory audit, let's say by at least 80%. Okay, let's just set it and add another one, perform inventory count with accuracy of 99%. So this could be tasks that she sets for herself, and then she can actually go inside here and mark this as completed, say 50%. As you can see, this is very self-driven, and this is done, so completed, let's say 70%, and this has been marked as completed. Yes, this one, edit 15%, and this has been done to 40%. So you can see that the goals are of varying completion, and the superiors can actually look at Jim, who is the manager of Jane, can now look at the performance, and he can go in and see that there's Jane's appraiser under her KRA. This is shown as such, the different performance. Remember just now we updated the KRA score, and then how much she has completed will then contribute to certain scores. Okay, she has completed this, so she has maximum score, and then yet to complete the documentation, so her score is as such. So this is how a score, a goal score, is provided. Okay, which can be useful for appraisal or performance review conducted by the manager with the employee. You can also see feedbacks about his staff. You can see from here that there's a feedback from Sarah about her performance. Okay, and this can be seen with more details. Okay, by looking at the employee performance feedback. So we know that Sarah, who is the HR manager, has provided some feedback. Remember our feedback rating criteria that was defined in the appraisal template. And his manager also can provide a feedback for Jane using the appraiser, and you can submit details like, pretty good accountability, job is well done, and then problem solving ability, and give some feedback, good worker, and save it, submit it. So all this feedback can also be reviewed by the staff herself. Now we go back to Jane's portal. Jane can see that her performance, her appraiser, and see her KRA. She can see feedbacks from Jim and Sarah on her performance. And then she can also do a self-appraisal. Maybe she give herself this value. And then I am a good worker. So it's very 360. She can assess herself, the bosses assess her, so it's quite an all-rounded kind of assessment, which is then taken into account together. So this is saved. Now we're into Sarah's portal, and Sarah can see the appraisal of Jane, and all these are actually well tracked. We refresh it with all the values, the feedback, and even the self-appraisal. And she can then use all this information to do proper appraisal of the staff, Jane. Now, of course, the system also can engage the personnel through routine milestone reminder, like for example, work anniversary reminder, birthdays, and so on, or even custom reminders. And so all this can be easily set up in ERPNext. I hope this video shows you how ERPNext can be used to enhance engagement of staff, specifically through appraisal system, goal setting, and also through reminders on important milestones for the staff. Thank you for your time.